All right. So the topic for tonight is extreme self-worth. And Tammy, again, just going to put it out there. This title came from your private group that you have, yes?
Yes, I have a group called Extreme Self-Worth, and in the work that I do, I basically discovered that that's kind of the core issue that many people have. So, including myself. So, I'm always a work in progress as well.
Yes. And perhaps if the members would like to be a part of that group, how can they go about that if that's a thing?
I have it's a Facebook group, Extreme Self-Worth. I could post a link in the chat here, or I could share it in your group as well.
Yeah,
Or you
actually, I
can.
would, yeah, probably be easier because I don't know if everybody knows how to use a chat. I know that Kitty does, but
Okay.
I don't know if everybody else does. So rather than making everyone become uncomfortable
Figure
by
that
learning
out.
something new tonight, we'll share that in the actual the actual group on Facebook that you can share that out. So
Okay.
so yeah, so the topic tonight is extreme self-worth. So I'm gonna give the mic over to Tammy. It's gonna be hers. I'm gonna mute myself. And it's all yours, Tammy. Take it away.
Well, hello everyone. Thank you for being here tonight and letting me talk about this topic. I don't know if I ever knew what self-worth was when I was younger. I don't know um, kind of when I started to realize that it was an issue for me, but it clearly was. And so part of the reason I call it extreme is because I was thinking about an example. Like some people need no coffee to start their day. Some people need a cup, and some people might be at three or four. I'm not judging the health factor in that because I put things in my coffee, but I was just thinking that people we vary in our needs. And for some people, they have like an inherent sense of who they are and that they're valuable and worthy, and they don't need as much encouragement or positive input, shall we say, to get to the same destination that the rest of us may be trying to get to. And so I look at it as what's your starting point right now? How do you feel about you right now? And I see a lot of different things in our world that can impact us. And I I finally personally was in some therapy a number of years ago, and it took me some time to accept the fact that I was valuable, inherently valuable, no qualifiers whatsoever. I just had value. And that was hard for me to assimilate into my thinking, because I was always kind of geared toward your value is based on your success or what you contribute to society, how you behave. If you're doing the socially appropriate things, then that makes you more acceptable or more lovable, or um, just in basically you earn it. You earn that value. You don't just inherently have it. And it took me some time and a lot of work to kind of shift that into, oh, really? What does that actually mean? And I had to really shift that mindset. And a lot of our battle does start there in our minds, right? Like that's where we're fighting it. That's what we live with ourselves, our self-talk, whether it's positive, negative. We take on what other people tell us, and we maybe don't have a good frame of reference to reject things when people tell us negative things. And so I was thinking about this today. I was like, all right, I need to have what can I share that would be valuable? What could I share that other people might relate to. And there's this part of me that kind of hopes other people can't relate to this story. But then there's this part of me that says, well, maybe other people can. And I remember as a teenager having someone very important in my life tell me that they couldn't wait to see me fall on my face. Now, I can't really imagine saying that to a kid, but that was what happened. And I realized that I internalized that so that I would go about saying, okay, well, I'm not going to fail. I won't fail. I'm going to graduate this. I'm going to go to, I was in the Navy. I'm going to go to boot camp. I'm going to do this. I'm going to graduate college. I'm going to do all these things to prove that I'm not a failure. And it took me quite a while to realize that I could turn that around and say, I will be a success. I could completely remove the negative words that my brain seemed to retain. And through that process, I started to realize that there's a lot of people who maybe were programmed, if you will, as a young person, as a young adult, maybe someone said something to you that really just cut you right to your core. And that was a defining moment for you. And that may or may not be a positive defining moment. So I had to learn to reframe it, right? I had to say, oh, I grew up with this belief that I was stupid because I struggled with math. Am I really stupid? Hmm. But I couldn't quite say, oh, I'm smart. I couldn't make that leap. And so I decided that I would come up with something similar. And so it became something like I am wise or I am intelligent. I can do, well, recently this is going around, I can do hard things. But when you stop and think about it, you think about your success rate till now is you're still here, you're still alive, you're still doing your whatever your journey is, whatever your purpose, you're still here. So you have successfully navigated life up till now. And so with that comes some wisdom. It comes some understanding, some awareness that you probably didn't have. I know I didn't have when I was younger. But if you believe that for a long time, it it's really difficult to say, okay, well, all of a sudden now I think this new way about myself. And we're the person we see every day in the mirror. That internal voice is what we hear all the time, no matter what's going on around us. And I find that it just takes some extra work to shift those beliefs. And have done I write, I journal. I have positive stickers and label, whatever. Like I've done all kinds of things to really give myself that reinforcement. And I hadn't really thought about this part, but I was always afraid to ask questions because that would lead back to I'm stupid, right? Or I'm dumb, or I don't understand, I don't comprehend. So if I ask a question, that is reinforcing that belief. Versus if I have that question, I'll bet you there's two or three other people in that room that do as well. And so it became a confidence thing to be able to ask the question and not feel dumb. Or if someone said, oh, well, we talked about this on page 2 and we're on page 4 and I missed it. Like it became more of a challenge for me to say, I'm going to ask this question because I need to know the answer versus I'm too afraid to say anything because of what I believe about myself. And I just had to learn that really it was about how I thought about myself and my beliefs about myself and what could I do to shift those and not rely on some kind of external input telling me that I'm this wonderful person. And so I'll just share a few of the affirmations that I use and that have helped me. And it's not all affirmations, right? There's a lot of other hard work that goes into this process, but it's one of those things that I can see on a regular basis. Things like I'm wise, I'm beautiful, I'm focused, I'm worthy, I am valuable. um, I'm important, I matter, and just really shifting that and catching yourself when you're going into something that's a real negative spiral. And it still happens to me. There's days when I'm like, oh man, I can't, no, nothing. I've got nothing today. And then I have to stop and think, why is that? What's going on that's making me feel like I have nothing to contribute to the world today? So I write it where I can see it regularly, like a post-it note, 3x5 card, put it on your mirror, put it on the back of your phone, put it on your steering wheel if you're driving a car. And I say write it, not type it, because I find that the writing piece internalizes it. I take it more into who I am when I actually write it, even if it's messy or sloppy or written on a napkin, whatever it is. It helps me to redirect my thoughts around that. And I know a lot of us need a visual cue, and it might seem excessive to need so many positive inputs, but it's not if you're trying to overcome something that you've been battling for a very long time. And I guess I would say I'm usually a 2 cup of coffee person. And so I find that that's probably, I need at least 2 times, probably at least the positive input to keep moving forward, to keep reminding myself. And there's ways that I do it that aren't just an affirmation, right? Like I need humor. I need to see a cute cat video. I need to see the dog jumping. Like right now outside my window, I can see the fall colors changing, and I'll look at that numerous times throughout the day just to be grateful for the beauty that I'm sitting in. Um, but it really is about what makes you feel valuable and what makes you feel worthy. What boundaries do you set because you feel that you're worthy of appropriate speech toward you? You're worthy of a space that you can operate in. You um, deserve things like a clean car, and you start to develop this idea that you are worthy of the things that um, you want in your life. And I'm older now than I was before, and I kind of wish I knew some of these things in the past, that I could set a boundary and that wouldn't, if that person got angry, that doesn't mean I'm less of a person because I set a boundary, or because I said no, or because I said yes. Like there's these mental battles that we're constantly playing. So I just feel like it's important for people to understand their inherent value, that there's nothing you can say or do that removes that from you as a human being. Um, there's just so many ways that you can do something like even meditation or a yoga routine, or you take a walk, or there's just ways that you can reinforce that you're valuable because you're taking the time for you. And that can be extremely difficult if you are a business person, if you're raising kids, a family, if you're dealing with elderly parents. Taking that time for you may feel like um, it's going against the time you'd have to care for them. But the truth is if you don't care for you, you can't care for anyone else. And once you start realizing um, that I know the analogy is you can't pour from an empty cup, but I've also heard the one where what you give to others should come from your overflow. So it should come out of that saucer into into that person and into that situation. And the only way that can happen is if you are filling your cup in whatever way um, you need to have it filled. So I just have found that it really does start with your mindset. It really does look at what actions you're taking to fill your cup and to make you feel like you're important too. And I have no idea how much time I've been yakking there, but I just, that's kind of what I wanted to share about it and what kind of came to mind as far as um, how you can see yourself differently, how you can value yourself differently, and focus more on that. I don't know if I like the word positive, but more on that uplifting side of who you are and who you uh, want to be.
Yes, I like that word uplifting as opposed to, I mean, I like the word positive as well, but uplifting's just got a different spin to it when we think about it. Thank you, Tammi, for sharing. I love your affirmations.
Thank you.
And I love if you don't care for yourself, you cannot care for others. I love that. And I think that's a really intense message for us to even write, because it's something that many of us, specifically as women, we have this tendency, and I think a lot of it is because we've been programmed to believe that we have to take care of everybody and put ourselves on the back burner. And one of the reasons why we're so burnt out in order to giving ourselves self-care is because we're so busy taking care of everybody else and not really showing up for ourselves. So I really did enjoy that statement. So I'm gonna take the recording off. Maybe.